Hello and welcome to one and all. In this class, we will check out the short answer questions from the next unit, that is market analysis. Okay, under the first one, SAQ 21, what are the characteristics of monopolistic competition? Of course, there are other answers also, like characteristics of monopoly and then classification of markets based on area and time. So they are also important questions, but since I have already covered those topics under the 10 mark section, I am proceeding with the other answers which I have not covered in the 10 marks. Okay, so under that, the first 10 marks question is the characteristics of monopolistic competition. So the monopolistic competition, in actual practice, we will neither find pure monopoly nor we will find perfect competition. Okay, both these are very difficult to be found in the actual practice. Perfect competition is an ideal type of market, and whereas monopoly, unless it is under the government, it's very difficult to find a pure monopoly. What we find in actual practice is the combination of both this perfect competition and monopoly. I mean, the actual market will find the features of both monopoly. Certain features of monopoly and certain features of perfect competition will be present in the actual market. Okay, so that kind of market is known as the monopolistic competition, or in other words, the combination of perfect competition and monopoly is the monopolistic competition which we find in the actual practice. And this type of market is being discovered by Professors E.H. Chamberlain and Mrs. Joan Robinson. Okay, so this is the monopolistic competition. So introduction. Monopolistic market is where several firms will produce the same commodity with small differences. It is not identical like the perfect competition. E.H. Chamberlain and Mrs. Joan Robinson pioneered this market analysis. Okay, now what are all the characteristics of monopolistic competition? According to Chamberlain, the main characteristics of monopolistic competition are: first one, large number of firms. There are large number of firms or sellers in this competition, but lesser than perfect competition. Okay, perfect competition is also having large number of sellers, but here the number of sellers are large, but they are not as large as the perfect competition, lesser than the perfect competition. Okay, and due to high competition, no single firm controls the total output in the market. If it is a single firm like a monopoly, the entire market output is controlled by only one firm. But since here there are several firms, many number of sellers are present in the market, no single seller is having the total control of all the output, the entire output in the market. So each and every seller, they are having their own share in the total output of the market. Okay, then the second one, product differentiation. So the product differentiation is one of the very main features of monopolistic competition. Okay, so this is one of the main features of monopolistic competition. Products sold by different sellers are heterogeneous or differentiated through brand names, trademarks, etc. See, for example, we are having different brands of soaps: Lux, Palmolive, Breeze, Synthol, Dettol. So many brands of soaps are there, and different brands of toothpaste, different brands of cosmetics, isn't it? So each and every type of this product is different. They are similar, but they are not identical. They are all heterogeneous, and each and every seller, they would try to sell their commodities by pushing, they have their own brand names. Okay, so each and every one of these products are differentiated through their brand names, trademarks, etc. There might be a genuine quality difference. Sometimes that is also possible, but most of the time there might not be any genuine differences in the quality, but the products might be differentiated because of the trademarks or the brand names. The products sold by different firms are close substitutes to each other, and their cross elasticity of demand is very high. Okay, that means a small increase in the price by one seller, consumers automatically they will go to the other seller, because the consumers here in this market, they are having a variety of choices. Okay, many number of sellers, they are producing and selling different varieties of commodities. That is the product differentiation. Too many varieties of products are available in the market. So any small rise in the price, the consumer will move on to the other sellers. So since the products are close substitutes, and that is why the cross elasticity of demand is high. Okay, then the third one, freedom of entry and exit of firms. So just like similar to perfect competition, in the long run new firms can enter into the industry or old firms can leave the industry, because like the perfect competition, there is no one to stop the entry of new firms into the market. When new firms will enter, only when the existing firms are earning more and more amount of profits, then new firms are allowed to enter into the market, or in other words, nobody is there to stop the entry of new firms. Similarly, if some of the firms, existing firms, are incurring losses, they are allowed to leave the industry. So anyway, this will happen, the entry and exit of firms can happen only in the long run. That's why it is mentioned, in long run new firms can enter into the industry or old firms can leave the industry. So this is also one of the main features of perfect competition. The same feature is found in the monopolistic competition also. So because of this reason, in the long run all the firms in monopolistic competition also, they will earn only normal profit. Maybe in the short run they are earning abnormal profits, extra profits. Then because of this abnormal profits, new firms will enter into the industry. When new firms enter into the industry, what will happen? The sales will increase, the price will decrease, so that every firm will earn only normal profits. Okay, then fourth one, competitive advertisement or selling cost. This is also another main feature of the monopolistic competition. Another major feature of this competition is advertisement or selling costs incurred by the firms to persuade the buyers to purchase their respective brands of products. So each and every seller, they will try to push up their sales, and the sellers, they have different motives. Some of the sellers, they might want to increase the sales. Some of the sellers, they might want to reduce the sales, but they want to charge the higher price. Okay, so different sellers have different motives there, but each and every seller, they will try to push their brand in the market. So they indulge in heavy advertisement in selling, or they indulge in all the marketing strategies to push up their sales. Okay, so selling costs are incurred by the producers, by the sellers, apart from the production cost, in order to convince the buyer, in order to persuade the buyer to buy their products, convincing the consumer that their product is superior than the competitor. Okay, since the products sold by different firms are differentiated and are close substitutes to each other, advertisements become necessary. So how a seller might convince the consumer that their respective products is superior? Only through, or mainly through, advertisements. Okay, then fifth one, more elastic demand. So the demand curve of the firm under monopolistic competition slopes downwards from left to right and is highly elastic. So the demand curve of the firm under monopolistic competition slopes downwards from left to right. So if it is sloping downward from left to right, this is like monopoly. Remember, in monopoly also, the average revenue curve, if you remember, I told you average revenue curve of the seller is the demand curve of the buyer. Since the demand curve of the buyer is the revenue for the seller, the average revenue curve also slopes downwards. Or in other words, in monopolistic market also, if the seller has to increase the sales, he has to decrease the price. Okay, so one thing, the demand curve or the revenue curve, it slopes downwards from left to right and is highly elastic. But in monopoly, it is not, it is inelastic, because he is a only single seller, he can charge high price. Okay, but since there are so many sellers are there in the monopolistic competition, a small increase in the price, the consumers will move to the competitors. So this so if you remember the elasticity of demand, if there is a more change in demand, then the demand curve will be highly elastic, more than one. So here in the monopolistic competition, since the products are close substitutes to each other, a small rise or small fall in the price of one seller will cause more change in the demand for the commodity. So the demand curve is highly elastic. It is more than 1. Okay. Then sixth one, firm and industry. Both firm and industry will exist in this market, and industry is called group. If you remember, the industry is group of firms is called as an industry. So the firm and industry are there in perfect competition. Firm and industry are same in monopoly, but firm and industry both are present in monopolistic competition like the perfect market. But here the industry is not, it's not very big, but the group of sellers, the group of firms, they are called an industry. But since this group of sellers are not very high, remember there are not very large number of sellers like in perfect competition. There are large number of sellers, but they are not as large as the perfect competition. To put it very simply, there are many sellers in the market, but not as large as the perfect competition. So all these many sellers together, they constitute a group than an industry. Okay. So this feature is also like the perfect competition. So you can see that there are some of the features which are present in the monopoly are there in the monopolistic competition. Similarly, there are some of the features which are present in the perfect competition are also present in the monopolistic competition. So this is the monopolistic competition which mostly we find in the actual practice, and that is what is known as the monopolistic competition, the combination of both the perfect competition and monopoly. Okay. Thus these are all the characteristics of monopolistic competition, which is a combination of both perfect market and monopoly. Okay. So this is also 5 marks question, and product differentiation and all you might even get for 2 marks. Okay. So if you find this video useful, please like, share, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have any doubts, please don't fail to mention in the comment box. Okay. So until my next class, take care. Bye bye.